Good morning. On behalf of the 6 members of the Selection Commission appointed by the High Council of Justice, I welcome you to this live-streamed first official meeting of our Selection Commission. Our Selection Commission was appointed by the High Council of Justice to conduct the competitive selection of candidates to fill the vacant positions of the members of the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine. Again, I wish to particularly welcome to our audience our judges, lawyers, and academic viewers. It is our hope that many of you, if you are qualified as provided for by the law, will consider contributing to the justice reforms approved by the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine by applying to our Selection Commission as candidates to this competition selection for the members of the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine. Myself and all members of our Selection Commission are honored and grateful to have been chosen to make this very valuable contribution to the administration of justice in Ukraine. Before I outline our agenda for this meeting, I wish on behalf of the Commission members, and firstly on behalf of the 3 international members of this Commission, to express our thanks to the High Council of Justice for our appointment, and as well to extend our thanks to the international and foreign organizations who have and continue to support Ukraine in counteracting corruption and for nominating we as the international members of the Commission. Also, on behalf of my Ukrainian judge colleagues and members of the Commission, I thank the High Council of Judges of Ukraine for their selection and appointment as well. Our Commission is very grateful as well to the High Council of Justice Secretariat for its support and valuable contribution to the work of our Commission, not just in preparations for this meeting, but as well for the work of the Commission in selecting candidates. We also thank the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine for their support of the Commission and its work. We're very grateful to be hosted in the plenary room of the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine. Lastly, we are grateful to the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine, NABU, and the civil society organizations, the Anti-Corruption Action Center, the Foundation de Jure, Euromaidan, Center of Political and Legal Reform, Transparency International Ukraine, and the Ukrainian Bar Association for their support in the work of our Commission. Before we begin our business meeting, we have another important matter to deal with. I expect many of you are asking yourselves this question: who are these people, the members of the Selection Commission? Well, to answer this question, each of us will introduce ourselves and give you some information about us, our legal careers and experience in the field of law, and we will each share with you our vision and goals which we have for the work of the Commission. After our introductions to you, we will move to the business portion of our meeting. We will share that agenda with you and then present it for approval of the Commission. Lastly, at the end of the business agenda, I have an announcement to make of particular interest to those watching who might, if qualified, be considering submitting their application for consideration as a candidate to be recommended for appointment to the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine. I urge you, if I have described you, to please stay tuned for that announcement. Now, colleagues, I have introduced the agenda for our meeting in general terms. I submit to you for voting approval of this agenda. All in favor, please put up your hands. All right. Contrary, if any? I hear none. Unanimously approved. It falls upon me, at the request of my colleagues, to be the moderator or chairman of this portion of our agenda. I am very pleased to announce that my co-moderator and vice chair of this portion of the meeting is Judge Ivan Mischenko.
Thank you, Ted. Шановні колеги,
Dear colleagues, I'm so glad to welcome everybody here in the first official meeting of the Selection Commission for the selection of HQCJ members. This is the first official, but not the first meeting we've ever had with the Commission members. Actually, we've had at least 10 meetings like this. We were meeting in person, and also we had some of the sessions online through Zoom, given the distance and lockdown restrictions. And throughout all this time, we've been actively working together to develop the key documents that we're going to be using in our work and that we're going to be using for the selection process. We're glad to present the outcomes of our endeavors. Each of the documents that we will be passing today has been discussed so many times. We've introduced a lot of amendments, proposals, and they were all reflected in these documents. That's why we believe that this preliminary phase of our work has been really fruitful, and we are ready to kickstart the competition, the selection process, I mean. I have an honor on behalf of the Ukrainian judiciary to express words of gratitude to everybody who was involved in implementing this idea to make sure the new HQCJ could be membership could be based on the selection process. I myself, 5 years ago, took part in the competition for a position at the Supreme Court, and in the room nearby, I was interviewed here in this building, being a candidate. So I would like to actually draw the attention of all the judges, of all the judiciary, scholars, and lawyers to get involved in this process and try to actually win this competition. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our international partners for their restless support, for the experience they kindly shared with us and continue to. All this is happening to make sure our judiciary is better, so that it works better in accordance with the best international standards. Thank you.
Go. It falls upon me as a moderator to present myself to you in the first instance and to introduce myself. Let me tell you very briefly that I am married. I have one child, a daughter, who is a lawyer and now working on her PhD degree in law. She has given me 2 wonderful grandchildren. I live in Saskatchewan, Canada, and as I'm sure is the case with all of you here, I am a proud Canadian, as you are proud Ukrainian. On December 1st, 1991, the people of Ukraine, the citizens of Ukraine, voted in excess of 97% in favor of being an independent nation. The next day, December 2nd, 1991, Canada was the first Western nation to officially recognize Ukraine as an independent nation. Since that time, Canada has proudly supported Ukraine faithfully ever since. A small indication of that support is Canada's nomination of me to be a representative on the Selection Commission, for which I am grateful. I graduated from a nationally certified College of Law in 1971. Thereafter, I practiced in the private practice of law in my home of Saskatchewan for 25 years. I dealt with all kinds of cases and all kinds of people. In 1996, I was appointed a federal Canadian court judge of the Court of Queen's Bench for the province of Saskatchewan. I continued my work as a Superior Court judge for 22 years. I was grateful to be elected as a director of the Canadian Superior Court Judges Association, and during that term, I was involved in the preparation and approval of the ethics for judges in Canada. I want to tell you a little bit about my Ukrainian experience. In 2011, I was invited by the Federal Commissioner for Judicial Affairs in Canada to participate in an education program for judges of Ukraine. I participated in that program for 5 years, and that participation took me to Odessa, Ivano-Frankivsk, Lviv, Dnipro, and of course, Kiev. I assisted the National School of Judges in Ukraine to prepare an education program based upon our visits to Ukraine. I counted my experiences, and I have been in Ukraine this week 22 times. During our educational program, I had the privilege of meeting 300 to 400 judges in Ukraine. And I was very impressed by their level of qualifications and their dedication to their work as judges in Ukraine. And I am very grateful for their assistance and support to the Canadian program that was delivered to them. Eventually, those students became the teachers. And through a program of education of those teachers, they are now presenting an annual program to the new judges at the Judges School in Ukraine. My involvement continued in 2018 when I was asked to accept nomination as a member of the Public Council of International Experts that was delegated the responsibility to work with the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine in the selection of the judges for the high anti-corruption courts in Ukraine, both the trial and appellate divisions. Those were some 39 judges, and I worked as vice chair of that commission in vetting the candidates for those positions. We had a high level of cooperation and collaboration between the Public Council of International Experts and the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine. And it taught me a great deal about the work and the responsibilities that fall upon the High Qualification Commission for Judges of Ukraine. And I think that experience will be valuable and a valuable contribution I can make to the Selection Commission. So, what is my vision for the Selection Commission? I give you my personal guarantee that this will be a merit-based appointment process. We well understand that the candidates that we will recommend for appointment will be responsible for, in considerable degree, appointment of the judges of Ukraine. We will choose candidates, is my promise to you, and they will choose judges, not for who they know, but for what they know. Candidates and judges who are not people of influence, but people of integrity. Candidates and judges who will serve the people of Ukraine, not serve themselves. Candidates and judges who will be independent, impartial, and persons of the highest integrity. Judges who will faithfully and honorably, and to the best of their knowledge and ability, serve the citizens of Ukraine and the administration of justice. Now I'm going to turn the floor over to my colleague, Judge Mischenko, to personally introduce himself to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Як часто
As my teacher of law, Mr. Vasil Kisil, used to say that law is the art of fairness and justice, and I devoted my entire life to law as a defense attorney first, and then as a Supreme Court justice. I have been administering justice in the Supreme Court for the last 5 years. The Supreme Court was set up as a result of the selection procedure as well, and at this point in time, it is actively trying to apply the best international practices, and we have good cooperation with the Canadian Judicial Institute, cooperation on introducing new styles. We participated in various international conferences on the development of the judiciary. That is why I believe that my personal professional experience could help us with our mission, which is based on integrity, transparency, and fairness principles to select the best representatives of the legal profession to fill the positions of the candidates and members of the High Qualifications Commission of Judges. Thank you.
Chenko. I thank you for your greetings as well, and I neglected to do that. My apologies. I now introduce to you another member, colleague of our commission, Robert Buchheiser, and I invite you, Robert, to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am an attorney from the Netherlands. I'm a member of the Dutch Bar, and I'm really proud to be appointed in this committee as a lawyer from a small country in the western part of Europe. And of course, I've wondered why a guy from the Netherlands was chosen for this important job. And possibly that is because the Netherlands suffered quite a lot of the war that took place in the eastern part of Ukraine. And that developed quite strong ties between the Netherlands and the Ukraine judiciary and public prosecution agencies. I don't know whether this is true, but I expect that is true. I have a background as a lawyer. I have my own law firm. I'm not a judge. I've been trained a marine lawyer, and in that respect, I have traveled all over the world to solve cases for my clients, national clients and international clients. And during my quite long career as a marine lawyer, I have experienced the terrible and devastating effect of corruption to the economy and the lives of individuals. At a certain moment, I was chosen to be the managing partner of a large Dutch firm. And after that, I merged the firm into a worldwide international firm, and I was chosen in the executive of that firm. And in that period, we tried to build a European alliance of law firms around Europe so we could work together in this international cooperation. At a certain moment, I was asked to leave this association, and I decided to become a prosecutor. The reason I became a prosecutor, that as a marine lawyer, I have seen so much corruption that I found that it was important to devote part of my life to fighting corruption. And that is what I've done in the years that I was a prosecutor. Because I was quite an experienced litigator, I've been handling very, very large corruption and fraud cases in the Netherlands. And those cases were international cases and took me again all around the world to seek information and to interview people and to make sure that those cases would be a success. After, let's say, a number of years of very, very difficult and hard work, that resulted in the conviction of quite a numerous top industrials of the Netherlands to jail sentence, I decided that it was time to step down. And I started my own law firm again. And this law firm is specialized again in investigation and fighting corruption. And we act for clients who are the victim of corruption and wish to find out how we can assemble the facts in order that we are sure that we try to punish the correct people. I've been appointed member of the Dutch Disciplinary Court of Appeal, of the Dutch Bar, so I look also at the integrity of other lawyers. It's only the second time I'm here in Ukraine, so I cannot say that I have the experience, the wide experience of my dear friend and colleague Ted. But let's say after 2 weeks here, I feel at home. I don't see so much on a personal level difference in culture between Ukraine and the Netherlands. What I feel is important is the establishment of rule of law and the expectation of fairness. I know that in a country where there is fairness an expectation of fairness and honesty in the judiciary, that will immediately have an effect on the poverty of a country, and of course also because people are willing to invest in the country. If there's no rule of law, people will not invest. If there's no rule of law, there will be no good paid jobs. And I believe that in a modern and democratic and prosperous nation, there should be a judiciary which can be trusted. And therefore, I think, and I'm happy to be here to make a contribution to that. And I make you one promise. Applicants with problems with integrity or unexplained wealth will not be selected. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Our next presenter and introducer will be my colleague, Judge Mezentsev. And I turn it over to you, please, Eugene.
Thank you, Justice Zazechny. My name is Yevhen Mezentsev. I am the court of the 6th District Appellate Court. To introduce myself, I would like to say that what influenced me as a judge, that was my grandfather. He influenced my decision to become a judge. He spent 25 years working as a judge. And in 1996, I started working in the area of justice. First, it was a prosecutorial office and other institutions. And starting 2004, I have been working as a judge. I worked in various regions of Ukraine. And I devoted a lot of time to administrative offices in the judiciary, and I was twice elected to the Council of Judges of Ukraine. What I find important is that the judiciary has to function properly. The judiciary needs to have relevant institutions that work on timely manner with fairness and in line with the law. In particular, it was a major problem for me to see that the High Qualification Commission of Judges was virtually inoperable for 2 years in a row. That is why I decided to participate in the work of this commission, and I see it as a great honor. And I would like to say that the procedure that we're observing right now is a novelty. It's a new page in the history of judiciary in Ukraine. We are applying new methods, new approaches, and our goal is to create a better future for the new generations. Our goal is to create pull the list of judges who will help uphold democratic approaches in Ukraine for decades to come. There's a saying, freedom isn't free. And actually, this is true about democracy and law. Our country emerged as an independent nation in 1991. We passed a constitution, and in line with this constitution, Ukraine is an independent rule of law country. And the thing is, democracy and rule of law does not appear momentarily, and since 1991 we are gradually moving towards creating such a democratic rule of law state. And this procedure, selection procedure to the High Qualification Commission of Judges, is, I believe, a very important step towards the creation of the democratic rule of law state in Ukraine. Thank you very much for your attention.
Дякую.
Thank you.
To call on Judge Markman, Stephen Markman. Stephen is from the United States, and invite you, Stephen, to introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you very much.
Microphone.
Thank you very much, Judge Zarzechny. It is an honor to participate on this commission, to serve with my 5 outstanding colleagues, and of course to be here this morning in Kyiv. My name is Stephen Markman, and I am from the United States of America, where I live in a very small town in the middle of the state of Michigan with my wife, Kathy. We have 2 children, and very soon we'll have 5 grandchildren. I am a very proud American. I am proud to have been chosen for this position by my country, and of course I am very proud of what I believe is the steadfast and loyal relationship between our 2 countries since your independence in 1991. My experience in the law over the past 50 years is that I have been the counsel for the United States Senate Committee on the Constitution. I've been Assistant Attorney General for Legal Policy, where I recommended many, many judges to 2 presidents. I have been the federal prosecutor, and I have been for the past 21 years, until very recently, a justice of the Supreme Court of Michigan, with service also as its Chief Justice. I have a single reason for serving on this commission, and it is to contribute to strengthening the judiciary of Ukraine, a country that I have very much admired since coming here twice with the State Department shortly after your country's independence. I've offered counsel in that process to the development of your Constitution. That was 30 years ago, and the changes that I now see in Kyiv and Ukraine have been remarkable and inspiring. My mission is exactly the same, I believe, as each of my colleagues, both my Ukrainian and my international colleagues, to contribute to the rule of law in Ukraine and the administration of justice, to strengthen constitutional government, and to establish an independent judiciary, without which things no sovereign country can live up to its fullest potential. We will have an open commission and a transparent commission in our hearings. We will do our best to be fair and impartial in our decisions. We will be respectful to the candidates, and we will be thorough in our deliberations to produce what we hope will be an even stronger judiciary in Ukraine. In the end, we hope that we will produce a stronger future generation of Ukrainian jurists, and we are determined to select the very best candidates who apply and who will be most strongly committed to a judiciary of the highest honor and integrity. But ultimately, it will be a judiciary that will only be maintained, or not, by the people of Ukraine. Ours will be a legacy only by their decision. The 3 international commissioners, including myself, will soon be gone, but we hope, and we know we are in agreement in this with our Ukrainian colleagues, that the process that we embark upon today will be received with great favor by your country. Thank you for allowing me to participate in this process.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Judge Markman. And now, to introduce himself, our final member of the commission, Mr. Sergei Verlanov, Judge Verlanov.
Дякую, пан Тед. Я вітаю.
I would like to welcome everybody. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome everybody with the first official meeting of the Selection Commission. I work as a judge at the Appellate Court of Kiev. My work experience is over 18 years, of which between 2003 and 2010 I worked at the trial court, and since 2010 until now I've been working in the different appellate courts. I believe my work experience in so many different courts and different jurisdictions has given me a lot of understanding of the real needs and challenges the judiciary is facing today. And also this helps me assist others to find solutions together. So we were appointed to select the 32 best candidates that will be recommended to fill the vacant positions at HQCJ that have to comply with all the criteria related to integrity and professional competencies. At the same time, we're going to be governed by the key principles, namely the rule of law, openness, transparency, proficiency, and political neutrality. I want to wish every success to all of us in what we were planning to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Verlanov. It I hope, has been a welcome experience for you to come to know a little bit more and come to know better the members of this commission. Yesterday, I asked each of the commissioners how many years that they had spent in working in the field of law. You may be interested to know what that total is. Largely or significantly contributed to, I might add, by myself and Judge Markman. But in total, the members of this commission have 166 years experience in working in the field of law. I only point that out, I hope, to encourage you to understand who we are, what we have to give and contribute to this process, and hopefully to gain your confidence and support in the work that we do. So now that you know a little bit more about us and a little bit more about our mission as each of us see it, and there are many common themes, I am now going to turn to the business portion of our meeting. We have an agenda that I am going to present now for approval of our commission members. And once the agenda is approved, I'm going to turn the microphone over to Judge Mischenko, who will very briefly explain to you each of the documents and the business that we are in. I'm going to invite my colleagues and myself by a vote to approve. So with that, colleagues, you have the agenda before you for our business meeting. I propose that we vote. All in favor of accepting the agenda, please raise your hands. Opposed, if any? No one is opposed. Carried unanimously. Judge Mischenko, if you could lead us and our audience through the agenda items that we are going to be considering this morning.
Sure, Ted, thank you. So, так.
So I'm going to be speaking Ukrainian now. The agenda of today's meeting consists of 9 points. I'm going to briefly name each of them and tell a bit about them, what we're going to be approving. Definitely, we need to start with the very beginning. So we need to approve the key document of the Selection Commission, which is the rules of procedure. It talks about quorum, it talks about the voting, and also it contains information about the decision-making process, etc. This is the document that this commission will follow strictly. Hopefully, the subsequent commissions after ours will take advantage of this positive experience that we will have developed together in this document. Points 2 and 3 of today's agenda are about the Selection Commission chairman election and the deputy chairman. Next one is the Selection Commission's regulation on the competitive selection of members of the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine. This is the document that sets out basic and key procedures that the competition process will follow. It contains procedures, it contains the way the selection process begins, is managed, and how it ends. The next one is probably another very important document. This is the methodology for assessing candidates. It contains the criteria for the commission to select the best of the best candidates possible. For the formal participation in the selection, one needs to apply for it. That's why we will approve the application form. This is paragraph 6 of our agenda. Number 7. This is our application to the international organizations that support us technically, including by engaging our assistants, interpreters, translators that will be helping out in each and every stage of this process. They will be assisting each of our commission members. Our colleagues have already mentioned today that we already have the Memorandum of Cooperation and Exchange of Information with NABU. We have signed it already, but we now have to approve it officially. According to this memorandum, the National Anti-Corruption Bureau will be helping the Commission and provide information regarding candidates that will apply for this selection process. And last but not least, this is the official announcement about the beginning of the first competitive selection of members of High Qualification Commission of Judges, including the conditions and terms of such competitive selection, including the dates and everything. So this will be an official announcement. We will provide sufficient time for the people to prepare and make their decision about whether they want to participate in the selection process. This is briefly about it. Thank you.
Judge Mischenko. Colleagues and members of our Selection Commission, we'll now proceed with the agenda and consideration and vote of each of the agenda items. The first matter which I refer to you for your consideration is the approval of the Selection Commission Rules of Procedure. You have those rules of procedure in front of you, and I will now put the motion of approval to you for a vote. All in favor of the Selection Commission Rules of Procedure, please put up your hand. Against, if any? No one? The Rules of Procedure of the Selection Commission are unanimously approved. The second item on our agenda is the selection of the Commission Chairman, and for that I'm going to turn to you, Judge Mischenko, to then take the chair.
Thank you, Ted. Пропоную обрати
I would suggest to vote for the chairman of the Selection Commission, and I would like to propose the candidacy of Judge Zajechny. Who is in favor, please? So the decision is approved. Thank you.
Agenda item is the selection and approval of the deputy chairman. And colleagues, I advance for your consideration the candidacy of Judge Ivan Mischenko to be our deputy chairman. All in favor? Against? Approved unanimously. The fourth item on our business agenda is approval of the Selection Commission regulations on the competitive selection of members of the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine. Colleagues, you have that document in front of you as well. I advance for approval the Selection Commission regulations. All in favor? Against, if any? None. That is unanimously approved. Item number 5 on our agenda is the approval of the Selection Commission methodology for assessing candidates' compliance with the integrity and professional competency criteria set forth for candidates for the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine membership, indicators of compliance with the criteria of such assessment, and means for establishing them. Colleagues, you have that document before you as well. All in favor? Against, if any? None. Resolution approved. Item number 6 of our agenda, approval of the Selection Commission application form with annexes. You have those documents in front of you as well. I present those for approval to you. All in favor? Against, if any? Unanimously approved. I then submit to you, colleagues, for approval the unanimous Selection Commission written request to the international and foreign organizations to engage assistants and interpreters, a document that was delivered November 19th, 2021. I present for your approval that document and that request. All in favor? Against, if any? None. Unanimously approved. Item 8 of our agenda, I present for your approval, colleagues, a memorandum of cooperation and exchange of information between the Selection Commission and the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, NABU, of Ukraine, dated December 20th, 2021. I present that agreement for your approval at this time. All in favor? Against, if any? None. Unanimously approved. And lastly, I present for your approval the announcement about the beginning of the first competitive selection of members of the High Qualification Commission of Judges of Ukraine, including conditions and terms of such competitive selection. That is a document that will be presented to the High Council of Justice for publication very shortly. It will announce the opening of the candidacy for the competition, and I will advise you now that the dates for the applications submitted to our Selection Commission that are reported in the announcement will begin on February 4th and conclude at midnight on March the 4th. So with that information, colleagues, I present for your approval the announcement of the beginning of the first competitive selection of members of the High Qualification Commission. All in favor? Against, if any? None. Unanimously approved. So I thank you, colleagues, for your participation and cooperation with the business meeting. That ends the formal business of this meeting. However, as I promised you at the very beginning, I have an important announcement to make for those viewers of our first Selection Commission meeting who are considering making an application, if you are qualified, to be selected and referred to the High Council of Justice for appointment to the High Qualifications Commission. For those of you who are qualified and considering making an application, we have decided as a Selection Commission that it would be helpful to you if we held an orientation and information session of the Commission. That will include a review of the law, the process that we expect to follow, and a review of the Commission documents that you have just heard our Commission approved, especially the application form and the attached documents to that application form, again, that you have heard our Commission just approve. There will be time during the information and orientation session for some questions and answers. And the session will be live streamed, just as this meeting has been live streamed, and arrangements will be available for you to ask those questions and for us to deliver the answers to you as well, live streamed. This information and orientation meeting will take place this Monday, January 24th at 10 o'clock a.m. Kiev time. So I do encourage any of the viewers here and any of your colleagues that you know or that you know will be participating as applicants to the Selection Commission. I encourage you to participate in that orientation and information meeting. I think the information that we will be able to present to you will be valuable to ensure that you have the ability to complete the application form successfully and thoroughly, and that you respond to the kinds of provision of information that will be helpful in understanding your qualifications. So with that, and colleagues, unless there is any further or other business that you wish to present to the meeting, I will accept a motion now and present a motion for adjournment of the official first meeting of our Selection Commission. All in favor? Against, if any? None? Our meeting is adjourned. Let me thank all of the viewers. I thank those members of the media that are personally present today with us to observe our proceedings, but particularly our viewers and the citizens of Ukraine for your interest in the work of our Commission and for joining us with this first meeting. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.